Linda is an office employee whose life is dull but stable until a plane crash changes everything because she looks messy and never takes care of herself. Everyone at work treats her badly. Even Donovan, the only coworker who talks to her, only does it to use her. He takes a report she spent 2 weeks preparing and claims he needs it for an important meeting. He promises her that her name will stay on the file and everyone will know it is her work. But when Linda secretly watches the meeting, she sees him throw away the page with her name and present the report as his own. Hurt and humiliated, she goes home, makes dinner, and talks to her parrot, telling it that things will get better soon because Bradley, the owner's son, is finally taking over the company. Bradley's father had promised Linda that she would become vice president, so she dreams of a better salary and a better life. The next day, Linda arrives at work excited to meet Bradley, but when she introduces herself, Bradley is disgusted by her appearance and the food on her face. As soon as he enters his office, he orders his assistant to transfer Linda to another branch and make Donovan vice president instead. The assistant reminds him that Bradley's late father promised Linda the promotion and that she is the smartest employee in the company. So Bradley decides to keep using her until he gets all the information he needs, then fire her later. By midday, Linda realizes that Bradley and Donovan are unusually close. Another employee tells her they are old friends, graduated from the same university, play golf together every weekend, and that Bradley plans to make Donovan vice president. Linda is devastated because that promotion was her last hope. She storms into Bradley's office and tells him that Donovan has only worked there for 6 months, while she has spent 7 years in the company. Bradley admits that she is the smartest employee they have and a genius with numbers, but says she lacks social skills. According to him, the vice president needs to communicate with important people and close big deals. And Linda is terrible at that. Seeing that his words hurt her, he offers her one chance to prove him wrong. He asks her to travel to Bangkok and solve a serious problem with the company's project there. If she succeeds, he promises to make her vice president. At that moment, Bradley's fiancée Zoe walks in. Linda stares at her, overwhelmed by how different they are, congratulates them, then runs back to her desk before she breaks down in front of everyone. Later, she tries to encourage herself in the mirror, promising that she will prove everyone wrong on this trip. The next day, Bradley, Donovan, and the rest of the team are waiting for the flight when Linda suddenly arrives with her suitcase, excited and determined to prove herself. Bradley is shocked because he never expected her to actually come. During the flight, Linda sits alone working while the others gather together. Donovan shows them embarrassing videos from Linda's social media, and they all laugh at her strange hobbies and awkward personality. Even though she turns her headphones up all the way, she can still hear them laughing. Then, without warning, the plane is hit by severe turbulence. Because most of them are standing and not wearing seatbelts, they cannot get back to their seats in time. The shaking becomes so violent that the plane door rips open and everyone is sucked out. Donovan grabs onto Linda's leg and refuses to let go, even when it starts pulling her out with him. Desperate to save herself, Linda grabs a fork and stabs his hand until he lets go, sending him falling into the ocean. Seconds later, the plane crashes into the sea. Linda manages to free herself and swim to shore. When she wakes up the next morning, she finds herself alone on a deserted island, surrounded by nothing but sand, ocean, and a dark forest. Linda quickly forces herself to stay calm because there is no time to panic. She walks along the beach, hoping to find someone else alive, and eventually she discovers Bradley unconscious on the sand with an injured leg. When she realizes he is still alive, she drags him under some trees and begins using everything she knows about survival to keep them alive. She builds a small shelter to protect him from the sun, collects coconuts, and stores rainwater in holes in the ground. Bradley does not wake up until the next day. When he finally opens his eyes, Linda tells him that everyone else died and only the two of them are left. Then she continues exploring the island and eventually manages to make a fire and cook fish. She is thrilled that her plan worked, even if Bradley is disgusted by the food and only eats because he has no choice. The next day, she comes back from the forest excited because she found a snail that is supposed to taste good. Bradley becomes annoyed by how comfortable she seems with this caveman lifestyle and asks why she has not tried to send a signal for help or write help on the beach. Linda explains that survival comes first. They need food, water, and shelter before anything else. Bradley loses his temper and mocks her, saying that maybe this is the life she always dreamed of. Linda finally snaps. They are not in the office anymore, and he is not her boss. She leaves him alone on the beach, forcing him to realize that without her, he cannot do anything, especially because of his injured leg. As the day passes, Bradley becomes thirsty and desperate, and eventually, he starts calling for her. The next day, Linda feels sorry for him and returns with water. Bradley apologizes for the way he treated her and admits that denying her the promotion was a terrible decision. Then Linda tells him she found a wild boar in the forest and wants to hunt it because it could feed them for a week. Bradley is shocked by how confident she sounds. He cannot imagine someone like Linda being able to hunt such a huge animal. But then he sees her sharpening a piece of wood into a spear and following the boar's tracks into the forest. When the animal attacks her, Linda quickly climbs a tree, jumps onto its back, and stabs it over and over until it finally dies. Filled with adrenaline, she laughs proudly and returns to Bradley carrying the boar's head to prove she did it. For the first time, the two of them sit together like real friends, eating, talking, and even laughing. The next day, Linda keeps exploring and finds a waterfall, making her happy because now they have a steady source of water. Then she suddenly hears a boat and runs to the shore, ready to scream for help. But at the last second, she freezes and stays silent. She realizes that if they are rescued, she will go back to the same lonely, miserable life she had before. Here on the island, she has discovered a stronger version of herself, and for once, she has Bradley beside her. When she returns, Bradley is furious. They have been trapped for almost 2 weeks, and he wants to know when they are finally going home. Linda tells him that the most important thing is to stay positive. Bradley loses his temper and sarcastically says that if she is so amazing, maybe she should build them a boat. Linda reminds him that they already have water, food, fruit, and shelter, and that she has been taking care of him this whole time. Bradley realizes that she actually likes living this way, so he storms off to prove he does not need her. He builds his own shelter and writes "help" on the beach with palm leaves, convinced that a plane will eventually see it. But after barely a day alone, he completely falls apart. He cannot find food, starts thinking about eating bugs, and finally gives up. Embarrassed, he goes back to Linda and apologizes. By then, her shelter has become even better. She has tools, fruit, and everything they need. Bradley admits that she was right and says there is nothing more important in a situation like this than having someone beside you. Even though Linda knows he is mostly apologizing because he is hungry, she forgives him and lets him eat. Afterward, she takes him on a tour of the island and shows him the different places she discovered. When they reach the mountain, she points toward a spot deep in the forest, marked with an X, and warns him never to go there because it is full of dangerous insects that could kill him instantly. On the way back, part of the mountain suddenly collapses. Linda nearly falls, but Bradley grabs her hand and pulls her to safety. From that moment, a new chapter begins between them. Linda starts trusting Bradley and even brings him fruit to thank him for saving her life. That night, Bradley opens up about his childhood. He says he grew up in a cold house with no love. His father only cared about work, and his mother only cared about appearances. So he learned to treat people badly because that was all he ever knew. Linda finally understands that all the things that hurt her came from the way he was raised. Then she tells him about her own past. She says she used to be married, but her husband died in a car accident. When Bradley feels sorry for her, she admits that he was not a good husband. He was an alcoholic, and whenever he drank too much, she would hide his car keys so he would not drive. One day, they had a huge fight, and in anger, she gave him the keys back. He left and never returned. Linda starts crying as she remembers it and tells Bradley that he is the first person she has ever told this story to. Then she says that maybe fate brought them together on this island, and maybe they are supposed to stay there forever. Bradley is shocked because he cannot tell if she is serious. Before he can answer, a storm begins, so they hide inside a cave. The next morning, Linda wakes up alone and panics, thinking Bradley left her. But she soon finds him in the forest looking for breakfast. He suggests they build a better shelter farther from the beach. And Linda teaches him how to survive on his own in case something ever happens to her. Later, while they are walking through the forest, Bradley offers to cook dinner so she can finally rest. Linda becomes excited because she thinks he may finally feel the same way about her. That night, he serves her food. But after only a few bites, she becomes dizzy and collapses. Bradley uses the chance to steal the boat she built and tries to escape. He secretly drugged her food because he knew she would never let him leave. But his plan fails. The boat is too weak, the waves flip it over, and he is thrown back onto the shore. Linda survives because she throws up the food before the drug can fully affect her. The next morning, Bradley wakes up terrified, convinced she will kill him. He apologizes and says he was only afraid of dying on the island without seeing his family again. Strangely, Linda acts as if nothing happened. She calmly tells him that she understands why he did it, but jokes that he should have used more of the drug if he wanted it to work. Then she cooks him a special octopus meal to reward him for trying so hard, but after he eats it, his entire body goes numb. Linda explains that the octopus contains poison that paralyzes the nerves and keeps him from moving. She says she only wants to teach him that he depends on her. Then she heats a sharp tool in the fire and burns his leg with it while he is unable to react. 2 days later, Bradley still refuses to speak to her. While wandering through the forest, Linda suddenly sees a boat coming toward the island. On it are Bradley's fiancée Zoe and the man helping her search for him. Linda is horrified because she is not ready to lose the life she built with Bradley. Zoe happily runs toward her and asks why they have been gone so long. She explains that she rented a boat and has been searching every island until she finally found them. Linda quickly comes up with a plan. She leads Zoe and the other man toward the dangerous part of the mountain where she nearly fell before. The moment Zoe steps there, she disappears. Luckily, the man with her survives and goes looking for Linda, calling her name. But when he finally finds her, she returns to Bradley alone. Nobody knows what happened to Zoe except Linda, and after that, she becomes quiet and depressed for 2 days. One night, she suddenly hears Zoe's voice calling her from the ocean. Linda sees her standing there, asking why she did this to her. Terrified, Linda tries to hit her with a piece of wood, only to realize that Zoe is not really there and that she is hallucinating. Meanwhile, Bradley is out hunting when he notices something sticking out of the sand. He digs it up and is horrified to discover Zoe's hand buried beneath the ground. He recognizes her by the engagement ring. At that moment, he realizes that Linda killed her. Shaken and terrified, he takes the ring and returns to Linda, asking her if she is still feeling sad, or if she is finally feeling better. Linda is confused by the way Bradley suddenly speaks to her, until he shows her Zoe's engagement ring and demands an explanation. Trying to look innocent, she pretends to panic and claims Zoe slipped and fell while she was trying to help her. She says she wanted to tell him, but she was afraid he would not believe her. Bradley knows she is lying and coldly asks if this was another accident, just like the death of her husband. Then he pulls out a sharp object and tries to kill her the same way he thinks she killed Zoe. Realizing there is no point talking, Linda runs into the forest. Bradley loses sight of her, but suddenly she jumps out of a tree and attacks him. He is stronger and manages to throw her away, but she steals his weapon and forces him to run. By accident, Bradley ends up in the area marked with an X. Instead of deadly insects, he discovers a huge mansion hidden at the edge of the island. Desperate, he breaks in and finds water, food, fresh fruit, and electricity. Before he can enjoy it, he hears Linda speaking through the house speakers. She tells him that he finally reached safety, but warns him not to look for any weapons because she got rid of all of them except the one she has. Laughing, she admits that she lied to him the entire time. She explains that they could have left the island long ago because she saw a boat, but she did not want to return to her old life of loneliness, bullying, and failure. She followed the servants who delivered food to the mansion, waited until they left, then secretly moved in. Since then, she has been living there comfortably and secretly giving Bradley just enough food to keep him dependent on her. Linda says she imagined a perfect new life with him, but he ruined everything by refusing to stay with her. While she keeps talking, Bradley secretly destroys the cameras and sneaks through the mansion, trying to find her. Linda continues confessing that she never meant to kill Zoe. She only hit her with a rock because she was afraid Zoe would take Bradley away. But she insists she did it because they were meant to be together. According to her, it cannot be a coincidence that they were the only two people who survived the plane crash. Finally, Linda grabs a rifle and goes looking for him. Bradley decides to trick her. He pretends to cry, apologizes for everything, and says his terrible childhood turned him into a bad person. Then he tells her he loves her and wants to start over with her on the island. Linda believes him. She lowers the rifle and says that she loves him too. But the moment she does, Bradley smashes a vase over her head. Unfortunately for him, Linda was expecting that. She grabs a golf club and strikes him in the stomach, then kills him without any regret. 1 year later, Linda is a completely different person. She is famous and playing in a celebrity golf tournament. After she was rescued, her story became world famous because people were amazed that she survived alone on the island. Linda used that fame to write a best-selling book about her experience. Now she announces that she is working on a second book about self-improvement and overcoming emotional problems. Then we see her driving away, living her life as if nothing ever happened, while everyone she killed is long gone.